So I think for me, my driving force in continuing to speak and staying strong is the same force that was the reason why I started speaking to begin with. The reason why I started speaking was because I was one of the lucky ones. I was one of the ones who survived, and I felt that I owed it to all of those who didn't survive. I felt that I owed it to all of those who were taken hostage. I felt that I owed it to all of those who were too traumatized to speak, to be their voice. And they're the reason why I started speaking out. They're the reason why I continue speaking out, to continue to remind the world that we still have hostages being held in Gaza almost 2 years later, to remind the world why this war started. And this war touches on every part of who I am as a human being. I'm not only a woman, not only a Nova survivor, I'm not only um, a Jew, but I'm a Persian Jew. And I feel like it's almost my responsibility as the only Persian Nova survivor, at least the only Persian Nova survivor that I know of, um, to be that voice, to show the rest of the world what this war is really about. Because a lot of people have been brainwashed to believe that this war is about Israel versus Palestine. And I think something that I realize is that the Iranian diaspora and the Iranian community in Iran, they're the only people that I didn't have to explain this war to, because they understand better than anyone what this war is really about. It's about the IRGC and all of its proxies versus all Western civilization, not just versus Israel. And I
We
feel
f-
that as a
we
Persian,
financed it for decades
yeah,
without our will, you know.
yeah. And I feel that as a Persian Nova survivor, I feel like I'm in a I'm in a special position where I can speak out on behalf of both communities, on behalf of the Jewish community and the Persian community. And I can try to educate and try to explain to the rest of the world what this war is really about. And that's what pushes me to go forward. That's what pushes me to stay strong, is to be that voice for the voiceless, for those
But
who don't have a voice.
how do you manage the feelings, Natalie? You know, you've seen kind of, you know, absolute massacre. I mean, I don't want to get into that if it's so
No, of
emotional
course
for you.
I'm happy to get into it. It's important to me to speak about it. And I always explain to people that while I was running from Hamas, I I was disassociating. I felt like I was having an out of body experience, and I realized in the days after the festival that I was still disassociating, that I wasn't feeling all of those emotions. I was very disconnected from it. And at the time I considered it my superpower. I felt that because I was disassociating, it gave me the ability to speak without crying, without breaking down, without being traumatized every time I talked about it. And because of that, I started interviewing very soon after. I started interviewing 4 days after the attacks. And I was doing, for the first month, I was doing 4 to 6 interviews a day for 5 to 6 days a week. So imagine, in that first month, I told my story over and over and over again. And a lot of trauma professionals, people who work in healing trauma, told me that I kind of healed my own trauma that way. That because I was telling my story over and over again, I I in a way healed my own trauma, and that's part of the reason why I'm able to stay strong today, because I spoke about it so much, because I kind of healed myself when I was trying to be a voice for other people. I was actually healing myself. And I that's kind of what keeps me strong. That's kind of what helps me to continue to speak about it.